got to tell you something.
Yes, let's go.
I do not have the patience for basketball officials to go to the scorer's table and put 0.3 of a second back on the clock. I can't take it. I don't like it.
5 times in the last 2 minutes. And also, if the ball is, there's 2 guys standing there, one of them hits it, and you got a 94% chance of being right. You still go over and look at the review for 7. I can't either. I can't. You know what? Review in general is awful for sports. Let's go back.
It's ruined.
Let's go back to, celebrating when a guy screws up. When they,
they've taken all the rhythm and movement out of the game.
No, let's go over and look. And the women's game is even worse because these idiots can't wait to run over there and review something. I think the NBA is what? It's got to be in the last 2 minutes or something. I don't know what it is.
I can't remember the specific.
Should be never, but
you can't accomplish anything in 0.3 of a second.
No, you cannot, and you shouldn't be able to. And it is disgusting.
Who's the Michigan State? I'll tell you something else. Who's the Michigan State player went to Creighton? And
Holloman, Trey Holloman, isn't it?
Yeah, he just went into the portal.
Yes, he might come here. He's a Minnesota boy, and he might want to,
Well, wouldn't you only go into the portal to go somewhere to get money? NIL money?
Yeah.
We don't have any.
Yeah, well, we got more than we had. They're going to come up with some for him. So
for the new coach?
He might, with the new coach.
So you're watching professional sports?
Oh, God, yes. Joe.
This is ridiculous. You'll never have a sweetheart in this thing ever again.
No, Joe. Kelvin Sampson, Kelvin Sampson, the Houston coach, has been fantastic down there. His team had no chance, and then they guarded these Duke weenies, and they couldn't throw the ball inbounds, and they beat them. Kelvin Sampson got fired in 2013 at Indiana because the NCAA caught him texting recruits. Mm-hmm. And also, when the assistant was on a call with a recruit, he made it a 3-way call. Mm-hmm. So those were the major, they say 5 major violations.
Looks pretty innocent, doesn't it?
It does look. But apparently in 2013, there were enough lazy coaches who didn't, who wanted to take the summer off and go play golf. So they had all these rules about how you could contact recruits. So he basically got fired, not for paying any players, for texting players.
We'll even go back to what got Clem in trouble.
Yes, right.
That's nothing.
Well, now, instead of having to take some secretary and have her write your papers, you got 7 tutors over there handing you I don't know if you have papers anymore.
And then look at, Sean Miller, Arizona.
Yes.
He was basically...
FBI. The FBI's got him saying, I'll give him $100,000, but he blamed it on the assistant. So, yeah.
That's been a big change.
Yes, it has been a big change.
That tournament, I can take it or leave it now.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
God, yes, with those finals. Although, the Duke finish was incredible. And now,
do you still get the same zest out of a Duke loss?
Not quite. Although, now this Cooper Flagg's a really good player.
Yeah, he is.
But he does give me the Leitner vibe because of his crazy mother.
Yeah.
He's got the crazy mother, and Bonnie Leitner was a crazy mother, and this mother basically raised the kid, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Dad's in the photo. So
the Wall Street Journal did a big piece on the source of Duke's NIL money.
Who is the source?
Oh, no. It's all done. They got a storefront somewhere for a mailing address. It's a bunch of guys who put in the dough, and they don't want to be known who they are.
Oh, okay. And
really?
They don't have to be known. So it could be, it could be Cuba or something. Could be.
Russian influence? Is that your suggestion?
Putin.
Yep.
It could be anybody.
He's more of a hockey guy, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
They have no control. They have I mean, Cooper Flagg can probably, well, he's going to be the number one draft choice, so he'll get a lot of money. But a lot of these guys make more money staying home and playing another year of college basketball and go to being the 18th pick in the NBA
You know
draft.
what percent of college players play in the NBA?
About 1.5, maybe
two at the most,
2, yeah. And a lot
Isn't
of
that
them,
something?
and a lot of them get drafted and ended up in the G League making, so yeah.
Or go to
it's-
Europe, or is that the G League?
It is the.
What's the Europe League? Just Europe.
Just here.
Yeah, there's Euro. As I keep saying, every kid in Slovenia who's 8 years old and has a 6'11" father, which is half the country, we're gonna have so many Jokic's we don't know what to do with them here in about 10 years.
Well, wasn't this
5
last
years.
NBA draft?
half
Half of the
European.
first round
Yeah.
kids were all from a different country.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, college. I don't have to me, Barrero and I used to alternate going to the Final Four, and I'd get excited when it was my year to go to the Final Four. Now I could not. I could give a damn. Now the good news is it was my year to go to the Final Four when Vegas beat them by 30. Dude, the next year I couldn't have taken it. I wasn't there
When they beat Michigan?
They called the phony charging foul on.
Oh, yeah,
Greg
you're right. I'm sorry,
Anthony,
yeah.
and Duke beat them in the
That's right.
semifinal. They were unbeaten that year, and then Duke beat them in the semis. So, but yeah,
I heard a great line about that team. Pat basically saying UNLV was NIL way before everybody
God,
else.
Yes. Well,
Honest
The
Tarkanian.
thing that broke it up. The thing that broke it up was when Anderson Hunt was in the whirlpool with this like 2 mafia guys and about 3 hookers. You know.
When I started as a sports writer,
Yeah.
the Final Four was not a big deal.
No. You go back and look to the Star Tribune. I went back and the Tribune actually. The Walton didn't miss it. Made 18 out of 19. It was in St. Louis, and it was on a Saturday, and the state boys basketball tournament has got like 5 pages, and maybe 12 inches on the side. Walton UCLA reach final or something like that. It was just
nothing.
an AP story. It was not a big deal. And
And now they'll have 70,000 at the game tonight.
But guess what? It's going to become less of a big deal.
It is.
I think
There's no charm in the damn thing.
No, the women's tournament has always been that way. The number 1 and 2 seeds win, but now it's
No, it's happened before. 2008 had all number one seeds.
Yes.
And this year. But I bet it hasn't happened more than those two times.
But the thing about it is the final 16 were all from the 4 major conferences.
Yeah.
There was nobody sneaked, nobody even from the Big East, Creighton or anybody snuck in there. So,
Well, good luck to them.
yes.
I got to tell you, too, I took the old man to the championship game when it was here. So what was that, 2019 was the Final Four here? And we had pretty good seats. You can't see the game. It's impossible to watch the game.
But here's another thing. We have invented it. We got the NIT, which is NCAA sponsored. And so you now got 100 teams, I guess, that the NCAA invites the postseason. But there's a tournament in Vegas called the Crown that invite 8 or 16 teams. And the winning team gets $300,000, and the other teams that make the Final Four get $100,000, and I think it goes to the players.
Really?
They're playing for prize money. I think, or whatever they want to do with the $300,000. The winning team, Nebraska was in the game last night. I think I don't know when it was. It was sometime.
Okay.
Nebraska made the game, but. I got to look up to see what, but the winning team gets $300,000. And these are the Scribinis. These are like the 112th best team in the country.
You guys were right. It's only happened twice since seeding began in 1979, this year and 2008, when you had Kansas, Memphis, North Carolina, and UCLA.
And Joe, there's a movement to make the bracket, the original bracket, 76 teams instead of 68.
Oh, my God. So if you don't make the tournament then, you are really lousy.
No, you're absolutely right. The reviews.
Where's the fun?
There is no fun. But,
Houston
Duke
and Florida.
losing.
I don't give a
I don't
bleep.
care. And by the way, the Florida coach, a married fella, couple of kids, had about half the co-eds in Florida filing complaints against him.
Ooh.
And he survived. They did the fact that they had a very good team. He survived, but he's got the young wife. He's a younger guy. He's got the good-looking wife. He's got a couple of kids. But apparently, if a co-ed walked by the office, she was
in danger.
Well, we mentioned how attractive she was, if nothing else.
I see.
And then I don't know if it went beyond that. But he got exonerated by school administrators. I don't think any legal forces in.
Who's the Houston coach?
Honest Ralph Sampson. Calvin Sampson.
Calvin Sampson.
He looks like he's been rode hard and put away
God,
west.
yeah. Because you watch the way they practice. Play. Every practice has got to be a brawl, right?
Just a slugfest.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
They come and they guard the hell out of you. And next year, he must have some Houston billionaires or something. Next year, he'll have to get a whole new club again. But that's the other thing. Nobody, the Gophers 2 years ago had a pretty good team. Ben Johnson, they were middle of the pack, a Big Ten. They all left. We had a whole new team this year, except for Dawson Garcia. And now we're going to have a whole new team next year with the new guy.
I was listening to an interview with Jim Nance, because Nance went to Houston, and he was talking about this program. Houston only lost one guy who went to the NBA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they brought back everybody else.
Got everybody back.
Yeah. Because I thought the same thing, but then I heard that interview, like, oh, wow, they did bring back their whole squad.
Yeah. Well, I think Holloman is, as you said, I was surprised that he seems to have a great relationship with Izzo, but maybe he wants to go somewhere and be the star for a year, He's a pretty good player. He's fifth year, right?
I think so.
The other new thing, Joe, that the NCAA is trying to get is everybody gets 5 years instead of 4. Everybody gets 5, but then injuries, red shirts.
But is this a case where Izzo might have said maybe you want to look for an opportunity because he's got 3 hot shots coming in or something?
I don't think so. I have no idea. I don't know.
But he could end up here.
Yeah, I'm sure they're trying to. They got to get a whole new team. He stole a couple of guys from Colorado State. He's got a couple other trains.
Where was he before Colorado State? I was going to ask
Drake, but only 1 year.
Only 1 year.
But then before that, he was at Wolford, I think.
Because he can coach.
Either Furman or I think Furman, maybe.
Yeah.
So
he a good pointer. You got to be able to point.
You got to be. I think he is.
You really got to point.
I think he is a good pointer.
What did you always used to say
Patino
about
practice
exactly.
pointing?
Yeah.
All summer long, he would be in a mirror practicing pointing.
He thought he might get it out of New Mexico because you don't want to be in any of those minor leagues anymore. He thought he might get the NC State job, but then they hired that Will Wade, who was at Alabama, who broke when they had rules, he broke every one God ever invented.
Yep.
And so he's there now. He got the job, and then he thought maybe he'd get West Virginia job, but somebody else got
but
that.
Xavier's a pretty damn good job.
But it's Big East, It's Big East.
Yeah.
So it's, although the Big East, when this $20 million thing comes in, the settlement with football players and stuff, most schools, I don't think the Big East, if you don't play football, I think you only have to pay like $12 million in. But without football, like Xavier, you can give all the money to
Basketball, sure.
So I don't know.
You like your Twins yesterday?
Yeah, I don't like much about them.
7-1 lead.
See, this is where we need Patrick back on Twitter because I could have read this was a bad loss.
This was a bad loss, for sure. This was going to be a bad loss. But they had 2 big innings over the weekend. One of them they held it to the finish line. Yes, you can just because you score a bunch of runs in one inning doesn't mean you can't get a couple of more, right? But it was bad. And Griffin Jacks, who to me was the MVP of the team last year, he's had 2 lousy ones already. And relief pitchers are kind of like goaltenders. They have a tendency to be really good and not so good. I think he'll be fine. But did you see the home run?
No.
He basically was asking for a new ball before the pitch got to home plate because it was a high fastball right here. And I think he was mad that he let Jeffers talk him into a fastball instead of throwing more breaking pitches.
Alvarez can hit the ball, man.
Well, if you throw it where he wants it and he's looking for it, he's strong. He struck out how about Thursday? I was there. Saturday, Altuve struck out 5 times.
5 times, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I thought that was the opening day.
Was
wasn't
that
it?
opening?
I think it was Thursday. Yeah.
I guess I was there. I didn't go over the weekend. So.
Well, I not to pick on the radio broadcast, but I was driving home and the boys and I were listening to the ball game, and in the 9th inning we were all knotted up at 7, and I heard from all 3 players that were coming up. Well, he's used to having a big moment, or he's always used to being in a big moment, and Josh Hader threw 9 pitches in that inning. Each guy struck out on 3 pitches.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't know how quick. I know they went quick. I didn't know that they were all striking.
He's made for these big moments. Strike 3.
I don't like Vasquez when he catches because he can't get a hit. I don't like the first baseman. I don't like the second baseman. Willie was a hack yesterday at third. Correa, according to the boys on TV, Correa's hitting nothing but rockets. But every time I turn it on, he's hitting a 12-hopper. And I kind of like the 2 corner outfielders, are Larnick and Wallner.
Buxton's played okay
and
so
Buxton's
far, but he'll
playing.
get hurt.
Buxton's
And Correa
playing.
occasionally will not run out a 12-hopper.
Yeah, he does. Well, the end of the day they were eliminated officially last year, he jogged to first base for the last out. Remember that? And the guy bobbled the ball, and he was still out. So, yeah, I think when you look at the crowds, the officials were 16 and 14. Yesterday they couldn't have had 10 there. And it's going to, it was cold, miserable. Well, it wasn't that bad.
Yesterday was nice.
It wasn't that bad. So it's going to be, people are down on them. The TV situation is not good, and it could be I don't think that sale's going to come quickly if the boys are looking for $1.5 billion. I don't think that's going to happen.
Where are they right now with that? Are they?
I don't know. So the guy from the only one we knew about, the Ishbias, the guy decided he wanted to try to buy the White Sox, I guess. So
Okay.
I don't know.
I thought yesterday when the grade school did the anthem, and quick.
Oh, man, it's great.
Just quick, let's go.
Because they don't want to forget the words. They got to remember the words. So I'm big in the grade school. We opening day, I wasn't. These people were from the Grease show out at the.
Yep.
So they were okay, but. Who sung a very good God Bless America was this military young lady that they get every once in a while. It was really good and fast. She's in the military. They're supposed to do stuff fast.
Disciplined.
Fast. Yes, that's right.
And the Wild had a much-needed 2 points.
God almighty. I would call it, and this, I'm not saying this routinely,
Right.
best win of the year.
Think so.
Most needed win of the year.
Certainly was the most needed.
They carried 1-0. They couldn't get a goal to save their lives. But I think we have to give, considering Kaprizov hasn't played and Eck hasn't played, I think either Faber on defense or Boldy has got to be your MVP, doesn't he? Boldy's had a good year. He's had a terrific year.
What time is that basketball game tonight? 7:50.
Which
that
means
means about 8:05, 8:05.
Which means 8:20.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I see the second half, I'll be perfectly happy.
Do we know if Vancouver beat Vegas last night?
I can check for you, sir.
That would have. Pat, I was telling Reavers they had. I was on TNT. I was watching Vegas and Vancouver a little bit, and the cameras did some outside shots of the stadiums, these overhead shots of the city and the harbor. I got to get to that town.
Vancouver, never been there.
Never been there.
Wow, I was there for.
Vegas beat Vancouver 3-2 last
That's
night.
a relief for the local team.
Yes.
The only time I was there was 3 different times with Jacques.
Yeah.
Because we had the first and second game there.
Oh, that's right.
And we had the 5th game there.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had the 7th game there. That was the days of newspapering glory. We're on the plane coming back for game 6 after they won. And at 5 in the morning or something. And I call up my travel agent and book a $1,300 ticket and pass the phone around, and they about 5 different guys get them for Game 7 in case there was going to be a Game 7, and there was.
There's an 8-point differential between the Wild and Vancouver's. There's 4
They're
games
not
left for the
gonna
Wild.
catch Vancouver, forget about Vancouver. They're in.
Yeah, they just beat Vegas. They're one of the best teams in the game,
Yes,
but I'm going to
but
forget about it.
yesterday, the playoffs. They're in the playoffs now. It's just whether they're going to play Vegas or Winnipeg. That was a much-needed victory, though. You had to get worried about Calgary otherwise. Calgary was the team you should be worried about.
I have a hockey question for both of you. Do you think Ovi is still celebrating?
They get beat 4-1, and Ovi's the happiest man in North America, isn't he?
I didn't like it. I didn't like Kami getting the record.
Well,
I didn't like it. I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it at
No,
all?
I went for a walk. I didn't want to see Kami get the record.
Well, I think if you're a Russian over here playing, you can't really go in and say, "Take that, Putin. I'm glad I'm in America."
Mm-hmm.
You might have relatives. Mm-hmm. They could end up in the gulag.
I don't think he goes back to Russia anymore.
Doesn't he?
Maybe. Well, he could get away with it because he's Putin's buddy.
Kaprizov.
Well, he got lost one
year. The first year, we didn't know he was coming back, but I think he got guarantees because I think he went back last year. But they know
he likes to go fishing in Siberia.
They know they can get out. Yeah, Siberia has got a bad reputation, especially because
it's underrated.
But there's areas of that like Whalen played in St. Catharines at Katrina, and it's down in the mountains and it's nice and south.
Yeah,
because that's a big hunk of land.
It's a big country.
Yes, it is a big country. It's a despicable place with the current man in charge. But I see that the one country that didn't get any tariffs was Russia.
Yeah.
We can free trade. We're free traders with Russia. That makes me feel better about America.
So I'm reading the paper yesterday.
Yeah.
I was reading the Sunday paper, and I was reading about this.
I think you saw the same story I did. Yeah.
Well, I was reading this story, and the next thing I know, there was a text from Pat. And Pat says, I'm going to read the text.
Yes.
But the story...
You're about reading the story at the same time you get the text.
Exactly, and I was uncanny that it was a story on page 2 of yesterday's Star Tribune. Dateline Assisi, Italy.
Yeah, Assisi.
Assisi. And it was the story of a guy named Carlos Acutis, 15-year-old, who is he's on the deck now for canonization.
Yes.
And I, like you, I mean, I read the whole story, and I kept looking for,
what he did. Yeah.
Give me something to work with. And then I get this text from Pat. What do you think of this 15-year-old in Italy who died in 2006 and liked to pray the rosary, being declared as an official saint? He died of leukemia. He didn't get burned at the stake like Joan of Arc, for Christ's sake. I say, like so many things in the modern world, our standards for sainthood have now gone to hell. Harumph. So I texted back, you should at least be stoned to death. And Pat texted back, damn right. And then I texted back, The kid basically did a school science fair project. And then Pat texts back, now that Mary Ellen is no longer with us to listen in, perhaps we can discuss this tomorrow in classy style, of course. And I texted back, of course. And you nailed it. Where are the standards here?
Yes,
This kid didn't do anything.
He sent out an algorithm.
He did a science fair project.
Algorithm saying what the good things about the Catholic Church. First of all, I looked up Joan of Arc.
Yeah, she suffered.
You know how many years it took her to get to sainthood?
A lot longer than this kid.
489.
There you are.
This guy makes it in less than 20
Yeah.
for creating an algorithm. And you need 3. You used to need 3 miracles, right?
Yeah, give me one.
He's got 2 now, but one of them is a girl who fell off a bike in Brazil and got a brain injury.
Yeah.
And apparently she read his algorithm and cured her brain injury. And the other thing I don't like about this, the guy's got the home court advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Italy, right? And they bury him in Assisi. You know?
They dug him up, by the way.
Yeah, they dug him up and buried him next to St. Francis.
Yeah.
Now, I looked up St. Francis. It only took him 2 years to get in sainthood. I guess if the birds like you got the thing. But Joan of Arc burned at the stake. First of all, she won a war to keep Catholicism alive in France. And then she got burned at the stake by Burgundians who were apparently English-loving Frenchmen.
Yeah.
And 489 years later, she becomes a saint. This guy.
Well, here's what it said he did. He said,
I'm sure he's a nice kid.
I'm sorry he's dead. That's terrible.
It's terrible.
Acutis died of leukemia in 2006 when he was 15, but had already developed a precocious faith life centered on devotion to the Eucharist, which for Catholics holds the real presence of Christ.
We know all
Savvy with technology, he created an online exhibit about Eucharistic miracles through the centuries. I'm sorry, that's a science fair project. That's what that is. I'm not kidding. That's blowing tobacco smoke into some cotton balls at the science fair to show the evils of smoking.
You know what this is? The Holy Roman Church trying to be considered modern. So the guy made it through the internet.
Yeah.
He made the sainthood through the internet.
He'll be declared a saint. It's a done deal.
Yeah, well, he is.
He's in April 27th.
The story is that people are trying to.
They're getting his relics.
Yeah, they're getting his relics. What relics has he got? He's 15.
Well, he's got his sneakers, his jeans, and his sweatshirt.
Yeah, and then they claim that they got hair from the guy. I don't know. It's just
he was exhumed during the more than look at this, Pat. How much for Joan of Arc? How many years?
489.
This was a decade-long quest.
To get him in.
10 years they got this guy in.
Mom must be a pain in the ass. I would think.
Like a basketball mother.
I would think Mom is like...
She's hanging around the Vatican.
Cooper Flag's mother, trying to get the kid sainthood. You know, the number one effort we had was Bruce Smith, the Gopher Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Remember his dad was trying to get him sainthood.
I don't remember that.
Because, something I don't know.
Why? What did he do?
I don't know. Riley
They beat Michigan?
I don't know. Yeah, I did beat Michigan.
He really? You said Bruce Smith's dad?
Tried to get him in.
He's a Faribault guy.
Yeah, tried to get him in sainthood. Yeah,
He didn't make
I
it.
did not know that.
yeah. And Bruce was a nice guy, I guess, but beyond running back a punt for a touchdown, I don't know what things he did. But Riley had. The old man. I can't remember what the dad's name was.
Here's the first miracle.
Anyway, read the miracles.
In Acutis' case, the first miracle in his canonization process was the healing of a boy in Brazil after a prayer service invoking his intercession with the presence of a relic.
Yeah,
that's it.
And what did he cure him from?
Doesn't even tell us.
Okay.
For clergy and pilgrims who have been visiting Acutis Shrine in Assisi this week, the relics take second place to the examples of faith and the power of assisting with prayer.
The other miracle was when somebody fell off a bike. and got.
Well, this might have been the kid that went off the bike.
Yeah, it could have been. That was the.
I'm not even seeing the second
The
miracle.
second, you got him. I read him. There's 2, and you used to need 3. It's just like.
Okay, the practice of gathering relics dates to the story was about people have been pilfering the relics from
to
this
get
child.
Dumbasses to
The
pay for
practice
'em.
of gathering relics dates to the earliest days of the church when many faithful Christians died as martyrs in religious persecutions. Those were standards. Those were a standard. You died you got stoned to death, you got burned. That's a sainthood.
Yes.
All right. Now, witnesses to the killings would collect blood or fragments of clothes
Yes.
to memorialize their sacrifice and pray for the saints' intercession. The first miracle in his canonization process was healing this kid in Brazil
Yes.
after a prayer service. We don't know what the kid was healing from. The relics.
But they don't have the second one.
I don't see the second
Yeah, they
miracle.
had the second one. I thought the kid in Brazil was the one that.
Oh,
fell
here
off
it
the
is.
bike.
Wait a minute. I would never buy one, said Amelia Simone, an 18-year-old from Chicago who has been studying in Rome and credits Acutis for help smoothing out visa paperwork.
Yeah, but that I don't.
That's
think
the
was-
miracle?
No, that wasn't a miracle. No,
I think
the
the-
miracle was something physical too. The two miracles that involve curing people of some damn thing. So.
Well, I'm with you, man. The standards
the
are
standards were saying
they're gone.
Yeah.
This is like going to the scores desk for 0.3 of a second. This is terrible.
I'm not saying that.
Might have been a wonderful man, wonderful young kid.
Terrible that a 15-year-old.
That's not good.
Lose a 15-year-old.
But you're right. He's got the home field advantage.
Yes, right. Italy.
Yeah.
You'd think if the kid was from Bulgaria, he'd have a
No,
chance at
no,
saying it.
or how about New York?
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, no. Yeah. Quebec, very religious Catholic place.
no.
Quebec,
But now they're taking his hair, and his heart has been preserved at a dedicated altar in another church. It will be taken to Rome. They're bringing the heart to Rome for the canonization
What?
marriage.
Stop taking body parts, for God's sake.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Jeez Louise. If you lined up those 2 people, if you lined up this guy,
Yeah.
the 15-year-old,
Yeah.
and your mom, Mary Helen,
Yeah.
pounding those heaters,
Yep.
still making mass every day,
Yep.
still, every time she lit one up, she did it in the honor of...
Gave money to a charity.
Gave money
I'm still
to
getting the
charity.
mail.
Yeah, right.
Gave 50 cents
She's-
somewhere, and you get the.
she had a much longer life of complete reverence for the
God, I
Catholic-
wish I could find the
Catholic
the
Church.
second miracle.
Yeah, I
Did
can't-
you read it in this story?
No, I read it online. I read. I looked it up to see what the miracles were, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, he didn't perform the miracle of my memory. So I wish the kid would come and touch my forehead. And
How did the kid in Brazil even know about this guy? On the
he
internets,
must have read
maybe.
The internet saint.
Social media.
Internet.
Yeah,
saints.
Twitter maybe. He's
Right.
a first Twitter saint.
Yeah, no, he is. They want to modernize, and Saint Pope Francis hasn't been good lately.
Well, actually, Twitter was not around in 2006.
No.
That's true.
Twitter was 2008.
Yeah, that's right. But Pope Francis, has been unhealthy lately.
Why didn't he pray to this guy?
And Pope Francis. Somebody might have slipped it in under, when he was there. And
It's like having Biden pardon all those people.
Right. Yeah. Hey, and one last thing, Pope, we got a saint for you. Oh, okay. And see, he's probably thinking it was Beatrice from 1796
exactly.
who got, executed for her
He
faith.
signed it like Trump. And he held it.
What do you think of our boy? Isn't it hilarious? I mean,
It's been an expensive last couple of days for some.
You got any money left?
I don't know. It's unbelievable. He starts doing interviews yesterday. They want to ask him about the economy going to hell, but he wants to tell how he won another golf championship.
He cheats at golf.
Yes, he does.
And that's really
That's
a bad
sign.
mark in your character.
That's a bad sign.
And I'm not saying that. I've read it through many good reports and sports
Every
stories.
once in a while, there's somebody hiding up in the woods that's taking videos of him topping the ball. And
He kicks it out.
As a fat guy, it's hard for fat guys to play golf, especially at me and I are the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lying when he tells you he won the club championship.
What's he doing hanging around with live guys?
Because they're on his golf course.
Well, I got a prediction for you. I bet a live guy will not finish in the top 5 at Augusta.
I don't know. Bryson, the long ball course, so he can probably, I don't know. But
Well, Bryson might be the only live guy still taking golf seriously.
does anyone know who won the live golf tournament yesterday?
I do not.
Does anybody know? Nobody ever
I can
knows
look it
who
up.
won.
No, don't look it up. Let's see if the Star Tribune has it.
I would doubt it.
They no longer have a TV page, and they no longer have stock tables. I'm surprised you're not hearing from.
Sunday, I saw a TV page.
Yeah, you get big deal. One of them. Okay, live. We got golf, PGA, LPGA, PGA.
We don't. We got the seniors making.
We got the seniors, the regulars, and the women. No live. No live in the paper.
Were we in Miami?
Yes.
Okay. I'm pulling up the leaderboard. Your winner was Mark Leishman.
Okay.
At 6
Australian.
I didn't know that he'd switched over.
Schwartzel was in second place.
Schwartzel's a Masters winner.
Sergio Garcia
A
in
Masters
third.
winner.
Bryson finished 5th behind Carlos
Didn't Sergio
Ortiz.
win the Masters?
Yes.
Yeah.
He won it on the anniversary of Sevy's
death, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was rooting for him.
Okay.
Sergio, give me the ball. Autograph the ball for me.
The only live player, okay, I'll amend that. The only live player, and I still predict he won't finish in the top 5, who could, would be DeChambeau because he still takes golf seriously.
And he overpowers. You can overpower Augusta.
Rahm is a disappointment. I think he's just enjoying the money too much.
But a Spaniard, you knew a Spaniard would take the free money.
Yeah.
They'd rather take the free
How about
money.
the fact that Phil finished 6th?
Yeah. Well, what was it, senior day or
Oh,
something?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the leaderboard. That's all I'm looking at.
Did the Trumper play in their Pro-Am?
No, he showed up and waved on Thursday.
Oh.
But they do have a Pro-Am.
Showed up. He landed the helicopter on the course.
Yes. And what? Every time he leaves town, it costs us like $5 million or something.
I think it's about $2 million a pop to fly him down to Florida. But he's going every week.
Speaking of guys that aren't taking golf seriously anymore, Dustin Johnson finished tied for 27th.
How about Bubba? Where'd Bubba fit?
Bubba can't play anymore.
He just doesn't. He doesn't play anymore.
I saw him
Is
on
he
here.
arthritic or something?
Bubba finished tied for 33rd at +9.
Two-time Masters winner.
If Dustin, though, is a joke. He was the second most talented guy in the world for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I gave up on him when he was out here at Hollis's tournament at 21.
Didn't want to play the
He's
weekend.
on the tee at 18. He finds out he's one under the cut line, and he's going to have to stay, and he immediately hits it in the water.
Yeah.
Takes a double bogey so he can get back to Paulina, which I can't blame him for.
No.
Is that where we got the infamous hit it in the water?
No, that was we don't want to play that.
I know we don't.
Sergio.
No, that was
No,
you
it
were
was a
watching,
women's
you were
tournament.
watching LPGA and you had a meltdown.
You had quite the words. You wouldn't have been canonized.
No, you would not.
Yeah, well, it's...
Those things happened.
Yes, it's but you know what? You know what would be a miracle? You need a miracle to get here from Jordan with what they're doing on the freeway.
I told you were using the facility. Joe, this is not going to, we can't do this all summer.
Yeah.
Why don't we do it all summer? We do it every year.
Yeah, but they were out in Woodbury and stuff. Now they're downtown.
Oh.
By the way, if you're going to the hockey game Wednesday night in St. Paul and you're from the west suburbs,
Leave now.
yeah, at least sometime Tuesday, leave.
Well,
It'll be
where is
days.
94 screwed up?
It's 2 lanes now.
2 lanes,
between
yes.
the downtowns.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Each way,
Yeah.
it's 2 lanes, and it on a normal wild game that starts at 7:00.
Yep.
With everything open at 5:30, the traffic is back beyond 100, trying to make.
You know
that
why it
turn.
doesn't
now
work
it'll
any-
be back to 494.
You know why there's 2 lanes and either way doesn't work anymore? There's no such thing anymore as a rush hour. We're
No,
pretty
it's all
much in
day
a
long.
constant rush
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
But here is when, my moronic friends on the left showed their utter stupidity. I mean, I'm the moronic wing. Highway 55 is the alternative to 394, and they took a entire lane away, the biggest, fattest bike lane in the world, and every 2 weeks somebody comes by on a bike on that thing. It's unbelievable that these jackasses took a lane away on 55, which is now backed up past 100 too. I use Portland now because
If
it's
I
a
lived in
city street.
Minnetonka and was going to the Wild game Wednesday, I'm trying to
have to-
think of how
well,
I do
you'd
it.
have- the
I
way
might
to-
go around the top.
Yeah,
you'd
that's
have to.
694.
494 is not. I mean, 494 is not good, but it's better than the alternative.
Patrick, how would you handle if your friends decided to just get rid of 94 and replace it with a park, like we tried to do?
Yeah. Well, 55.
I was going to go Wednesday night. I can't. I got another thing.
Oh, your guys playing?
I know. I wanted to go see Macklin Celebrini.
Ooh.
He's here.
The,
I can't go.
That's the King or the Ducks.
It's
The
the
Ducks are having a
Jose's.
lot.
It's the
Sharks.
Jose's.
Oh, Santa, they're having a lousy year, right?
Right, but this kid is supposed to be
The real deal.
the real
Do the
deal.
Guns still own them, I wonder?
I don't think so. No.
Well,
I can look it up.
The George is dead, but Gordon's still alive, I believe.
I would imagine that's a tech-owned outfit.
Who owns the Sharks?
You
when
didn't.
On my final days of being on this planet, I will always recall my favorite line ever when I said, Louis Nanny was so rattled by the officials that Gordon Gunn was leading him through the press box. The blind guy, remember Louis
Yeah.
used to read it?
Yeah.
Yes. I thought that was as tactless as it could finally get.
The San Jose Sports Entertainment Enterprises is a privately held company based in San Jose. The current president and businessman is Dr. Hasso Plattner. He serves as the team's
How do you
representative.
spell Hasso?
Hasso.
I don't know what that is.
No, I don't either.
I could look him up.
Foreign influence.
He's Yarman.
A Yerman?
He's Yarman. He was born in Berlin.
I'll be damned.
Who was his daddy rooting for?
Did he drive around the wall?
He probably drove around the wall a lot as a kid.
Great daddy. Hey, what's your great grandfather? We don't talk about that. All right.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. Come on. Let's
Look at it this way. We have a chance at Sainthood.
Yes, we do.
You don't have to do much.
I said, who'd this guy beat out? Me and Daniel Weichert?
Right. It's a science fair project.
I know. I mean,
For all we know, we didn't even get an A on that in school.
the teacher must have said, "What's this gibberish?"
That's I got a program here for the Eucharist. And then his mother took it to the Vatican. Look at what my kid did.
Okay. And even if today's thing is kind of not considered tacky, I mean, is considered tacky and kind of not approved by the Roman Catholic Church, I got the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, because I got the 9 First Fridays in the bank.
Yep.
Even if you get hit by a bus,
Yeah.
you get 10, 15 minutes to repent. So I got that going for
Got that going.
Now,
for
did
you.
you get the 10 minutes because of the 9 First Fridays?
Yes.
See, I don't think I have the 9 First Fridays.
Oh, too late. I got them at least 3 times.
Never too late. I can do it now.
Yeah, but that means you got to remember 9
that's
straight First Fridays. My mother, 9. We used to the Friday mass was in the nuns' chapel,
Oh, yeah.
7 a.m. before I went to school. They were that for the 9 First Fridays every year. I got them at least 3-4 times.
Well, Lent has more than 9, so it wasn't a Lenten thing.
No, it was
just a Friday
any time
thing.
during the year you have to make 9 consecutive communion on 9 consecutive First
And you're
Fridays.
getting the trade-off is you get 10 minutes.
You get time to repent.
You
I
appear
said
or
it
what?
takes before you're dead. You know, if you're on your deathbed,
You get the 10-minute.
you get the time to say, okay.
You get your last time out.
Okay, I'm sorry I missed Sunday Mass 738 times. You know? Everything's fine.
Hey, I am a chaster.
And I always say, if that isn't true,
Yep.
then none of it is.
Well, plus you
My
got.
mother wouldn't have lied to me.
Plus, well, let's think of all the things you got. You got Louis Cardinal,
Yeah, I got Louis. I
got
got
your-
Aunt Helen
Aunt Helen,
and Aunt Peggy.
and Aunt Peggy,
Very
and the
religious.
9 deals.
And, you know, my mother was very religious, although if that's the Holy Trinity,
Yeah.
Helen's here,
Yep.
Peggy's here,
Yep.
and Mom's down here someplace.
Yeah.
She might have had a few cocktails and missed Sunday Mass once
Yeah.
in a while. But anyway. But then again, she died young, so that she got that going for her. So as far as Sainthood's concerned, I damn well know Aunt Helen deserves to be a saint more than this 15-year-old kid. I know that.
Yeah.
Lower the standard.
We have lowered the standards.
Yes. All righty.
Let's sell some cars.
We haven't lowered the standards at Jim Paul
No.
and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers in Apple Valley. This is the place to go. If you were watching the women's Final Four championship game yesterday, they had many Buick commercials, and this is good-looking hardware right here. These SUVs are fantastic. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers have a tremendous inventory right now of 2024-25 SUVs, beautiful Buicks. This is the place to go because the interest rates are extremely low and the factory rebates are extremely high, and no tariff nonsense affecting them yet because they've been on the lot. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, check them out. You can look at the stock at the Valley Group of GM.